The new year is here, and if you didn't already know, January is also Financial Wellness Month. It's a time to set goals and get a plan in place. Dewey Steffen, CEO and Chief Investment Officer of Great Lakes Wealth, is joining us here now live with a few tips to get you started. Good morning.
Ellie, good morning. Great to see you.
Great to see you, too. Excited to learn some of these tips. So what are some steps to making financial goals?
Well, they're very simple, but you just have to do them. You need to write them down, make those goals, and again, write them down. You need to make them specific to your situation. You need to make them measurable. You need to give yourself a deadline. And last, but certainly not least, is you need to hold yourself accountable.
What are some common financial goals that are a good way to get started that I guess people might find attainable?
Well, the first is create and stick to a budget. And you can do that on a monthly basis and then times it by 3 for the quarter or times it by 12 for the year. But make a budget. That's number one. Number two is set up an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of emergency expenses. We learned this through the pandemic that you need to have an emergency fund. Next is debt. Bad debt. With record low interest rates and where we are, you need to reduce or eliminate bad debt. And then you also need to max out your retirement accounts. That's the next step, is saving and investing. And then last but not least with this is spend less and save more.
So many people make resolutions only really just to break them quickly. I know I've been guilty of it. Are there some financial resolutions that you recommend just to kind of get your foot, I guess, in the water, lightly tap the toe in and make some healthy habits that might be easy to stick to?
Yeah, the first one for this year is very simple. Invest for success, your success. So the best resolution you can do is to go ahead and set up your retirement plan at work and your auto draft or your Roth or traditional IRA, set it up on auto draft. And so once it's set, it'll come out every pay or every period out of your bank, and it'll do it the entire year. Set it and forget it.
And what should the timeline be for some of these goals? Are these weekly goals, monthly goals?
Again, they should be an annual goal, but you should break it down into a month, maybe a quarter. But if it's your retirement, you need to do that every paycheck. So whether you're paid weekly or every 2 weeks, that's a goal that has to happen every payday. If it's the other goals, paying down debt, again, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
So I guess it depends a little bit on the person, too, depending how often they're getting paid, what their goals are. Now, there are some landmines to avoid in the first quarter with the tax issues, the pandemic. What are some things you should think about going into those as you're kind of trying to navigate all that?
Yeah, well, sure. With last year, and all that went on, you don't necessarily know what your tax situation will be like this year. So April 15th is certainly the tax deadline. So avoid making any big purchases in Q1 before you're, maybe going to get a landmine of a tax bill or just something that comes up. So avoid making any big purchases in Q1, and that'll be a good start.
All right, Dewey Steffen, CEO and Chief Investment Officer at Great Lakes Wealth, I should say. Thanks for being here with us.
Healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Healthy and wealthy. I like that.